Good afternoon, YouTube and Twitter. Can we run them both? We're running simultaneously. So good afternoon, good Saturday afternoon to you guys. I have to tell you, I have literally been busy all morning. All morning, I have been absolutely slammed trying to bring content to you guys. We've got some good stuff we're going to be going over here. I'm just going to let a few more people get in, and I just want to say good morning, good afternoon, because I'm so used to mornings. I forget when it's afternoons. So this is the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club for Saturday morning, which has been extended to Saturday afternoon because I was in a interview for the better part of the morning. I did edit the video. I cut some stuff. I made it, a little less than, I think right about a half hour for the content that I got. I got some other breaking news that I acquired yesterday related to the relationship between Candace and Jose. So we will be airing that first. But for right now, we are just going to say good morning, good afternoon, and happy Saturday. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club segment for Saturday, March 19th. Can you believe that we are almost through March? I am just floored. I think we have 12 more days, and we are through March. We're going to be in April. It's just these months are just flying by. They're just flying by. So Banjo Trance, no, I don't watch Shay's Safe Place. I'll have to go take a look at it. Yes, I know it's hard to watch in most cases. We are, we're going to be monitoring her. We have to monitor, with this case as it's heating up. It's the case of Summer Wells. A lot of people are thinking it's dying down. It's not. It's just starting to heat up. We're starting to see the fractures and the cracks forming in the dam, and we feel, at least I do, in my opinion, feel the dam's going to be breaking open really soon. So we had a great opportunity today. You know, a lot of people don't realize I had an opportunity to interview an author, and he was the author. I'm going to be careful with what I say because I don't want to have, you know, add suitability. So we're going to use wordplay. We're going to use wordplay here. Keep it PG. But this is the title of the book. So I'm going to play wordplay with one word and one word only. I'm sure you guys know what it is. Anyways, we had an opportunity to interview James Higdon this morning. He's the author of Cornbread Mafia, a homegrown syndicate's code of silence, and the biggest Mary Jane bust in American history. You know, I was very thankful that he took the time out of his busy schedule, and it took us a while to get this. You know, we were supposed to have this last week and then early part of this week, and his schedule and my schedule just did not sync. And so this morning was the first time that we could sit down and chat with each other, talk about, you know, the cornbread, and we're going to call it CBM for the sake of shortening some of the, you know, the, I can't even think right now, but you know what I'm saying. So just to keep it all uppity up so we don't have any issues. Boy, I'm awfully blurry this morning. You know, let me go out and see if I can come back in. Give me just a quick second. See if that helps. Not sure what's going on with the computer. That's why I monitor it, right? That's why I monitor it. So yeah, it was quite blurry. Let's see if I'm better. Well, it's not, still pretty blurry. Maybe it's because I got too many things running. Hold on, let me see if I can take some of this stuff off. Ugh. All right, well, I'm just going to take this down then. Let's just see where we are. Hold on just a second. I want to go through some things. So right now it looks like we might be okay. But just for the sake of argument, it does look a little clearer. So we're going to run with it. I'm sorry if I'm having some technical issues where it's blurry, but it does appear to be better. If I start getting too blurry, let me know, and I'll just step out and come back in and refresh what we have here. But it should be good. Thank you, Anissa. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you guys are happy with the content that we're bringing to you today, please be sure to like it so it can move on up and be seen by other people. Let's see here. What's with the furry man? I don't know. Oh, are you talking about the one on the cover? Well, that is Johnny Boone. And we're going to get into him. And, you know, he is truly CBM. I mean, he was, you know, the epitome of what CBM is, and that's the cornbread mafioso. Let's see. Perfect. It looks like everybody's saying that I look better. Yeah. The membership link. Let's see if I can. Are you talking about the join me link? Let me see if I can get that. Hold on. And I'm back to blurry again. I apologize. I don't know why I'm back to blurry, but I am. So, oh gosh, it's getting even blurrier. Sorry guys, I'm having some technical issues. I don't know what's going on. I've got to run some things on here, and then we'll let me see what I can do here. Let's see if I can get it. YouTube. Okay, got it. Well, I don't know. Let's see if I can go in here and see what this will do. Hold on. It's not letting me. It's just on my main page. When you go onto my main page, you have the opportunity to subscribe or join. And obviously, subscribing is free to all people on here. It's just to get notifications. And the join me button on the page. Ooh, that is bad. On the page is the join me button, and then on the page it does cost money if you want to join. That supports the channel. Again, I don't know what's going on with my internet, so I do apologize. I know I'm getting blurry, but there's not a whole lot I can do about that at this moment. I've already went back out and went back in. Hair looks light. No, actually, I haven't done anything with my hair in quite a while. That's why my dark is actually coming in, because I have not done anything with my hair. But it is my hair. It is my real hair. And guess what? I'm not balding. So if anybody's curious about that, we know we have some stories going around whether I have real hair or not, which I can't believe. I don't even go to a hairdresser, so it's not like you can say I got extensions. It's crazy. It's crazy. Sherry, I gotta look for it. I don't know why it's not showing up for you. Maybe it's a setting you have on your end, so you don't accidentally purchase memberships on YouTube. I don't know. You might want to go. I know in your channel, there's a way that you can go over to subscriptions and see who you're subscribed for. Yeah. Anyways, good afternoon, everybody. So we've got a lot of stuff that we're going to be going over today. I'm sorry if my visuals are blurry. I don't know what's going on with my internet. It might be something in my area. And again, I apologize about that. It might be because of how many windows I actually have opened on two separate computers. Typically, it doesn't matter, but it's because I do have stuff open that I want to show you, Twitter, Instagram, and I've got 2 videos up, which might be degrading my bandwidth. I'm not sure. I don't know how all that stuff works. Oh, it looks clear now. Awesome. I love that. I did close down one window. Hopefully that was enough to boost my bandwidth so you guys can see me. Hi. So many of you guys know we've been working really hard. I've been talking about a special guest that I wanted to interview here for quite some time, and the last couple of weeks it's been hit and miss because of our schedules. We are going to go through that, but first, before we do go through that, I wanted to go ahead and play. We did find out through Allie. I spoke to Allie yesterday. And, I wanted to call her about a couple things because, something hasn't been sitting right with me for some time, okay, related to Jose's interview. There's a lot of things that I was able to corroborate prior to him coming out and speaking to Justice for All. But there was just some things that I felt he wasn't talking about. I don't believe, Betsy, I actually like Allie. I like Allie. I think she was really not, everybody's giving accolades to Jose. And I believe Jose has been dishonest about a couple of statements that he made. And people have totally tore Allie apart when she came out. And I don't think that's fair. I really don't. Because she is a victim of the Wells. Her whole entire family is a victim of the Wells. That's why I care for her. That's why I believe her. And there were some things, if you guys haven't seen JLR's post from yesterday, he ended up, I had no idea until I got the notification. He posted their interview, and I forgot a lot of the stuff that we had talked about. I do remember some of the stuff, but I forgot about a lot of the stuff. We've been going over, we did episode 1 and 2 that Olivia put out on her YouTube page. We still have 3 and 4 to go through, and we will go through those. We might go through those today. I'm not sure. You don't have, this is the problem. This is the problem I have. You don't have enough information to make that determination, unfortunately, Dakota. You're assuming that. There's no evidence that says that she allowed her children. As a matter of fact, we have documented evidence, incident reports where she was begging police to go up there and get her kids. So to be honest with you, the information and evidence I have via police reports and incident cards directly contradicts that statement, unfortunately. So, I'm not sure where you're getting this from unless you're hearing it from third parties. Our team does not go to third parties for information. We get the information directly from the source. We have police reports. I have a police report right here of her calling the police to get her children off that mountain after Candace wanted to blow her effing head off. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not sure where you got that information from. But to me, that sounds there's nothing that I have in my possession, custody, and control that proves that statement there. I do have a lot of stuff in my possession, custody, and control that contradicts that statement, though. So to each their own. You're more than welcome to believe, who and what you choose to believe, and so do I. But I can tell you, I've got proof to back my statement up. Just saying. Just saying. And again, that's an opinion. That's your opinion. That's not my opinion. So, and I think and I want to know, I would like to explore that with you, Betsy, just a little bit more, because it sounds to me like I've met these people. I've done my due diligence. You guys seen, we ran videos yesterday of all the work that we did. I would not be speaking highly of somebody if I really thought they were a deplorable person. If I really did not believe the information that they were giving me. But not only were they corroborated by other witnesses and other people, i.e., Allie's statements have been corroborated through other people. So it's not like I'm just taking her word on things. You see what I'm saying? So, again, you're allowed to believe anything you choose to believe, and you're allowed to have the opinions that you choose to have. But whenever I go and make a determination, I base it off not my emotions or my feelings, but off of concrete information and evidence. And I've got incident cards of Allie calling the police to get her children off that mountain. So because of the drinking and the alcohol. So it's kind of hard for me to say that she condoned it when she's calling the cops to get her children removed from that area because she was too scared to go on the property to get her children. Many victims in this case, yes. I agree with that. There are many victims in this case. There are a lot of victims in this case. Okay, Amy, let me read your. Hold on, Amy, let me find you. Yes, question. Why does everybody point the fingers at everyone but Jody Sue? Here's another question. And it does, this is what I do have a problem with. There are people. Okay. Do you have any more? Okay, good. Sorry if I missed something, Amy, let me know, but I did just go up and read your comments above. Thank you. But it does bother me that a lot of people, every time somebody comes out and says a statement anywhere against Don or Candace Wells, everybody comes out and calls everybody else a liar. Have you guys noticed that? That every single person in and around Don and Candace at the time Summer went missing that speaks out against them is all a liar. It's everyone else. Has anybody noticed that? Because I'm starting to notice the pattern. I'm starting to notice the Mafia style, hits that people are doing on people that are speaking out against the Wells, and it makes you wonder why. Anybody else notice that? I'm wondering if it's just me. Actually, no, he hasn't. And you do realize I talked to both of them. She let her go with She did allow Hunter to go with Canada. And you know what? We're not going to be playing blame Allie for stuff here in this chat because you know what? When you entrust your children with somebody, whether you like that person or not, but if you entrust and you have a fight over a guy, right? It has nothing to do with messing around with your kids or other kids or stuff like that. And you entrust your child with an adult, you expect your child to be entrusted with that adult. We are not going to victim shame here. We will not do it. I will not condone victim shaming here. And right now, people are wanting to blame Andrew and Allie if something happened, if something did indeed happen to Hunter. It is not, parents trust other adults, just like many of you have trusted your child in the care of another adult. If something happened to that child, it is not your fault that something happened to that child. It is the adult that took advantage of that child's fault and only their fault. So I want to make sure I'm very clear on where I stand on this argument. So, but again, we're going to have bombshell information. Let's see. Very good. Let me guess, he didn't have anything to do with her either, but he cried the last time he left. Alexandra, period. I'm going to tell you and explain something, and I'm only going to explain this one time, and hopefully you understand. There is not one person with a monetized account on YouTube that is not making money, period. Period. We work very hard to build a platform and to monetize our pages. This is a job for me. This is a job for many other YouTubers, whether I agree with the content that they create or not. And if it's something that you have a problem with, then get off YouTube. Because anybody that has a commercial when you're going in to watch their page is making money. You understand that? They're making money. Everybody on YouTube, including myself, makes money off of each and every bit of content we produce. I'm not ashamed of it. I work very hard for it. People come in here to watch it. And if it's something that you cannot handle or stand, then maybe you shouldn't subscribe to any YouTube at all, because everybody's making money. Everybody. Everybody. Everybody in the true crime realm, from Michelle After Dark to Chris McDonough to Duty Ron to everybody that we love and respect in the true crime community, is making money off their content. So this idea that people are grifters and it's garbage. It's something that is only said to trigger people. Even the people that are saying it, guess what? Are making money off YouTube. You get it? Now that that's said. Betsy, if you would like to speak to me anymore or have me respond to you anymore, super chat is the only way I'm going to do it. Okay? Because I don't have time for you hijacking this channel unless you're paying to hijack this channel. Let's see here. And that goes for anybody else with stupid questions. So, I mean, I respect everybody's opposition, but you just keep going and going and going and going and going. It's like you get, and many other people are in this chat that have questions for me, and I'm spending the majority of my time with somebody that prefers to challenge and belittle the people that I hold high regard for. And that just doesn't bode so well for me. You guys are making assumptions and opinions about somebody when you haven't even done your own fact finding or due diligence. And when you do, you'll have police reports and incident cards in your possession when making that determination. Just saying. That sounds smart ass. I apologize. It happens, especially with me. We're still doing good here. So far, so good. All right. We're still keeping on target. So now that we have about 220 people here, I wanted you guys to hear, a little bit of the conversation that I did have with Allie yesterday. It's funny that, to be honest with you, when I hear people coming out and upset about something a teammate does, it makes me wonder why. Because they've done a lot of upsetting things as well, right? And they gave no regard to anybody else when doing so. So, I don't lose sleep at night for the work that I do here. I don't. I do the best I can each and every day, and so does Olivia, and so does Jonathan. And, there are a lot of people that we've worked for and that we've had, not necessarily worked for, but worked in conjunction with, that when they worked with us, they hold us in high regard and high respect because they realize that we do professional work. Despite what people want to say, we do professional work. So with that being said, I'm done with the discussion of, people browbeating Allie, and Andrew and things of that nature. You guys are misplacing your frustration and anger, which should be addressed to Don and Candace Wells. Just saying. Just saying. Let's just see here. I got a few more comments to go through. YouTube's. Yeah, but I just get so sick of that. I can't believe they're making money. They're picking off the carcasses of children. Well, I cover more than just children. I cover murder cases. I cover, children abductions. I cover serial killers. I cover like a wide range of things. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm going to monetize this, but I'm not going to monetize that. It takes money to run this. It takes money for me to be here. It takes money for the work that I do. I mean, it's common sense, folks. People that sit there and scream, you're making money. Well, you go to work and not make money. Why don't you donate your entire paycheck to volunteering? By the way, did you ever think that I volunteer my time as well in and outside of this, doing this stuff? It's just, it gets irritating. It gets irritating, but we move on and move up. We keep forging forward. That's what makes us so different. We forge forward, and we go through a lot to do that. So if you guys like this channel and like the stuff that we do, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you want to join, you can join this channel as a paying member on a monthly basis to help promote and keep this channel afloat. Let's see. And of course, lastly, this is the official Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club mug. If you so choose to become a morning member, people love the mug. It's the best-selling item outside of the shirts, the hoodies, everything. This cup right here is the best-selling item in the store. Yeah. People are just, they don't use their noggin. They just don't use their noggin sometimes. So here's I'm just going to go ahead and play the skit. It's just a 3-minute skit of and it's parsed down. I didn't put everything in it. I just put some information in it that I thought was pertinent, about certain things. And I'm just going to go ahead and play it for all of you guys to hear now. And then we'll get back, and then we'll go back to the interview that I had with why can't I think? Jim Higdon. His name on the book is James Higdon, but he goes by Jim Higdon. And we'll get to that interview here shortly. And, and I even said that on one of my lives. I think it was either this morning or yesterday morning. I said, everybody's being so happy that Jose came out. I said, but you know what? Shame on YouTube, because when Allie came out, you guys brutalized that woman. That was not right nor fair.
Get out of here.
Right. Get out of here with that garbage.
It's a good thing I didn't hear it, because if I'd heard it, I'd called Andrew myself.
Oh, I know. But listen to this. Andrew was going off. I think his friend Sam, Andrew and Sam were going off on Benny. Apparently somebody was saying something in Benny's chat, and they just about, it was yesterday. I had to get off because I don't like getting sucked into the drama. And I kept telling Andrew, I'm like, Andrew, don't get sucked into it. Don't get sucked. It's easy to get sucked into it. Stay focused. And he was fit to be tied. He was just fit to be tied. And he's wanting blood. He's wanting Benny blood.
And then Benny's like, oh, well, Hunter, there you have it. Everyone, Hunter got removed from his mother's care. Blah, blah, blah. And I went off on interest in that one. I said, the hell are you doing? Like, keep your fucking mouth shut when it comes on.
Right. If they think it, they believe it's true. That's what I found out, because I mean, people are, I just came back from South Carolina and I was out there for a leisurely time, and some creator is out there saying, oh, she took her subs money for her vacation. I'm like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't.
I know. You were in Tennessee about a month ago, weren't you?
Yeah, we were in Tennessee. Well, it was a couple months ago. It was back in January, mid-January. We were in Tennessee, and we came by and saw you. And that was, but I've been traveling everywhere. I've been to Louisiana.
You wanna know why?
Why?
Because I heard you on the phone.
Yeah.
At my boyfriend's store for asking the guy behind the counter about the vapes.
Yes.
And everything. That was my boyfriend. And I heard your voice, and I looked at Leslie and I said, I know that voice. I know that woman that is Bullhorn Betty.
Yep, it was me.
Well, so no.
Oh, because I was getting my jewels. Yep. That was me.
And you know, propaganda too.
Right? Somebody need to tell her about herself. Did you hear her when she was on her live? She was like, if people want to be mean, that's okay. And I'm thinking, you're the same woman that's threatened to blow your friend's effing head off with a gun. And you're sitting right there right now acting so innocent. Like if people want to be mean to poor little me, then fine. It's like, what? And I'm surprised. I'm surprised that Jose tried to claim that nothing happened, and I just don't believe it. I don't believe
shit. They were both in the same bed. Even her mother called them.
Wow.
Why do you think her mother called Dawn? Why do you think Johnny came back so quick? It's because her mother called him.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's sick. That's sick. So.
Look, if this bitch wants to play some games, come at it, baby girl.
You're right. So this idea that Jose and Candace had nothing going on, it was all above board and all so savory. Not only did Allie catch him in bed, Grandis caught him in bed together a second time. And it was Grandis that reached out to Dawn in Utah and had Dawn come home. So when Dawn came home, he already knew that Jose and Candace were caught in bed at least one time together. Remember, no doors on the house. People can just walk in. People can see all your business, and they got caught. And now they are denying the fact that this had happened, denying it. And so I'm not going to allude who the second person is. Do I know who they are? Yes. But because YouTube is so brutal to this family, to these victims, I will not engage in telling who's who. I do not have to do that. I'm not going to do that. You're not going to go and attack people. If you do, that's all on you. But I'm not going to engage in that one bit. These people are nice people. They did not deserve what they received. from YouTube. And to think that everything that's coming out of Jose's mouth, which I told you, there's a lot of stuff I believe and have corroborated prior to hearing Jose's story. But there's also some things that I corroborated that I knew were a flat out untruth from Jose when he was speaking. And I heard them and I knew better. And it was, everybody was just giving him a free pass on it and weren't challenging him on that. Now, I want to again state, I believe Justice for All and ICU did an amazing job with the interview. They did an amazing job. However, we had done a lot of background investigation on this entire family, on the entire network of people prior to ever approaching the first person for an interview. So we had already known about a lot of stuff. And so some things when he was talking was very glaring to me because we have such firsthand knowledge of a lot of stuff that went on, whether we have brought that to light with you guys or not. We still have it. We still have the content that has not been released. We still have the interviews that still have not been released. We still have information that still has not been released here on the Bullhorn Betty channel or any other of my other team members' channels. So I just want to let you know that, yes, this idea that nothing unsavory happened between Jose and Don is untrue. And when you look back on it, you can agree that something does not seem right because he's talking about all these deplorable conditions going on, right? All these deplorable conditions going on in the house. And it was prior to Don being there. It was prior to Don actually being in the home. He hadn't been back from Utah yet, but it's all Don's fault. And I'm like, what? How can this be all Don's fault when he's not even there? The condition of the house is not Don's fault. He was living in Utah. Then children not having the proper nutrition and not having a good hot meal is not Don's fault because he's in Utah. But that was my contention with the entire interview. It had nothing to do with what ICU or Justice for All did. They did an amazing job, and they scored a great interview. My problem was with the person that was giving the interview, that was providing the information in the interview, Jose Roman. He was the one I had a problem with because he wasn't being truthful, 100% truthful. And that's what we had expected from him. We expected him to be 100% truthful. You're coming out for your first time, your debut, you're saying all these things. You're blaming it all on Don, but Don was only there for you. And he even acknowledged he was only there for a month while Don was there. From the time Don got home to the time he left was 1 month. So he had been there all these months prior to. And also in his interview, he talks about how he had just gotten his part-time job. So that means he had been living in that house without having to work. So you have Candace, Grandis, and Jose with Summer in that house while the boys went to school. And with 3 full-grown adults in months, they couldn't seem to get that house cleaned up any better than it was cleaned up. And then they want to say that nothing had happened between Candace and Jose. Am I the only one that this doesn't make sense to? I agree, Betsy. It makes me more confused as well. It does. And then but it's corroborated that there were unsavory things that happened between Jose and Candace. So I want to make sure that we remove this mask that she and him didn't do the dirty. They did the dirty and got caught twice. So if they got caught twice doing the dirty, it happened more than twice. Yeah. And that's what, and that's my thing is that you're becoming an unreliable witness because you're telling part of the story, but being deceptive in the other part of the story. So, thank you, Sherry. I love you. I love you, girlfriend. So, Let's see what you got. Maybe she didn't like her. You know what? If you remember, we brought to you back in December when we aired some of the videos that there was actually some contention. It wasn't just an argument between Allie and Candace over Jose. And we talked about this in some earlier, I think over the last few days when we were talking about Jose. They were actually arguing amongst themselves. Grandis had a thing for Jose as well. So not only was Allie and Candace split their relationship because of this inappropriate love thing that Candace and Jose had, Grandis was getting upset because she wanted Jose too. And I've heard that from several sources as well. So I think that's why I think Grandis was mad at her daughter because she wanted that man. Jerry Springer. Anybody can say it? Yes, that's what it feels like. I feel like over there on the mountain with this whole Jose scenario is definitely without a doubt. And I even said that, what was it, yesterday or the day before, where I say, you know, Jose must have felt like a pimp daddy over there. All these girls fighting over him. Grandis wanting him, Candace wanting him, and then he rides off with who to go where? Makes you wonder what happened in that long ride over to South Carolina with Grandis, doesn't it? Doesn't it? I'm just saying. Just saying. Keeping it real. Painting the picture. Painting the picture. Yeah. Are you kidding me? We pull up Hawkins County, right? And I'm telling you, it's Hawkins County gone wild. There's a lot of good people there, but the bad, I've got to say, the bad really leaves that stink on the whole county. It really does. It really does. From, you know, the photos and computer arrests. I'm not going to go through what those arrests for. I'll let you guys use your imagination related to the arrests that are, you know, kind of going on in and around Hawkins County, but they're unsavory. You know, it's like the Sherfries and you know, the Jackie Dobbs. I knew that was going to hit. That's why I waited until you guys got in here before I started playing stuff. There we go. Now I can take this down, and then it should be even clearer now that I got that done. Okay, perfect. So anyways, it's just insanity. But yeah, it seems like a Jerry Springer show going on up there at the mountain. But this is not the first time you've ever heard me state that Allie, Candace, and Grandis were fighting over Jose. It's just Allie was smart enough to say, you know what? She walked away. She grabbed her stuff and left. You know, and Candace is telling her she's going to blow her. You know, this is all in that same time frame where Candace is telling Allie she's going to, you know, shoot her in the head. And so it's crazy. It was crazy. It was a definitely, I'm sure, some tense moments in and around that. And that was before Don Wells ever even got home. And then Candace tried to tell Don, oh, Allie just dumped this man here. Are you kidding me? Do you honestly believe that Allie just dumped that man, drove off, and left him? That's not what happened. It's not what happened at all. So now we can move on to the next segment of this. This is the interview that I had with the author of Cornbread Mafia, a homegrown syndicate code of silence and the biggest marijuana bust in American history. This is what we've all been waiting for. You know, we've never quite found out who originally brought up how Cornbread Mafia got brought up into this. We have no clue, right? We just heard it one day on the Dr. Phil show. We don't even know what made him bring it up. We just know that, you know, obviously somebody has alleged it. I don't see, you know, Dr. Phil bringing this up without having a reason to bring it up. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, right? But I believe that there are, you know, somebody had to bring it up. It makes me wonder, did Don say, you know, it could have been this, it could have been this, it could have been this. You know, it makes me wonder why Cornbread Mafia got involved in this. So you know, thought, well, who could we talk to about this, right? And Jonathan reached out to me. He had gotten a hold of an author that wrote this book and said he wanted him, wanted us to interview him. Unfortunately, I wish Jonathan was with me this morning. However, he's at another, he had other work to do. He has another assignment that he's currently on right now down south. And he was trying to be present today at 11. It just didn't work out. So I kind of had to do this all by myself. And I know that he would have probably had more follow-up questions. There are still some questions that, of course, after the fact you think of that I should have asked him this way, I should have asked him that way. But without further ado, I am going to go ahead and play this video. Oh, you know what? I think it went down whenever. Hold on a second. When I pulled the other one up, I think it put this one down. Let me go back. Hold on. Give me just a second to find it. There we go. Interview. There it is. You guys might hear it. I'm going to have to pause it whenever I find out where it's popping up at. There it is. Okay. All right. Let me bring it on in. Let me take the banner off real quick for summer so you guys can see the whole thing. All right, guys, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself so it doesn't echo, and you guys can. Well, hi, James. This is James Higdon, author of Cornbread Mafia, a Homegrown Syndicate's Code of Silence, and the biggest marijuana bust in American history. Thank you so much for taking your time to meet with me this morning. I'm really excited just to learn a little more about the Cornbread Mafia.
Thanks for having me.
What is, if you don't mind, what is the Cornbread Mafia?
So thanks for asking. It's a term that's been thrown around quite a bit in other contexts, but strictly speaking, when we're talking about Cornbread Mafia, the term originates to describe a group of superlative outlaw cannabis growers operating in Kentucky in the 70s and the 80s. Mm-hmm. Very specifically, the first time Cornbread Mafia is used publicly is at a press conference held by federal prosecutors in the summer of 1989 to describe what they more specifically called the Marion County Marijuana Cooperative, because these outlaw cannabis growers were centered in a area in central Kentucky called Marion County. It's also my hometown. So I grew up around all this activity. And then after that press conference where, not to get ahead of myself, so this press conference detailed the activities of 70 men from central Kentucky that had been caught over the previous 5 years on 30 farms in 10 states with what the law enforcement said was 185 tons of marijuana.
Wow, that's quite large.
Of these 70s, hang on a second. So of these 70 who were caught, none of them talked or cooperated. So the feds had an idea of what this whole organization looked like, but because none of them talked, there was no ability to run a case because there were no witnesses. So instead of running a case in the courtroom, they held a press conference to the media and laid out their case to the media. In the course of this press conference, referred to these guys as Cornbread Mafia for the first time. And that term kind of caught the imagination of news editors. It was in headlines and wire services, and it created kind of a media circus around my hometown and brought a lot of notoriety to us. And then subsequently to that, after 1989, any kind of Southern tinged organized crime activity or any people in the South who wanted to appear tough started referring to themselves as Cornbread Mafia when they actually had no connection to this group in Kentucky that had been called it originally.
Gotcha. And did you ever hear of the Cornbread Mafia in Tennessee? And if so, what parts of Tennessee?
I have not heard of actual Cornbread Mafia activity in Tennessee. What's fascinating about the press conference that was held in 1989 detailing their cannabis growing activities was that all of the states that they were busted in outside of Kentucky were all Midwest and Plains states. So they were in Michigan, Minnesota, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska. They were north and they were west. There was no documented activity of the actual Cornbread Mafia cultivating any cannabis in Tennessee.
Gotcha. And does the Cornbread Mafia even still exist this day and age, the real Cornbread Mafia?
The guys who were arrested associated with Cornbread Mafia that the federal government assumed were the ringleaders are all out of prison now and back home. But in terms of active mass scale outlaw cannabis growing like they were conducting back in the 80s, no, that activity does not exist.
Gotcha. And was the Cornbread, or whether you know or not, was the Cornbread Mafia a violent syndicate back in the 70s and 80s when all this stuff was transpiring?
Well, there's two ways to answer that. One, of these 70 guys that were arrested across 10 states that were principally the group that was first referred to as Cornbread Mafia, none of those 70 men were charged with violent crime. All of those crimes were exclusively for cannabis cultivation. None of those guys in subsequent arrests have ever, to my knowledge, been charged, prosecuted, convicted for violent crime. Now, working in an illegal industry at the scale and size these guys were operating at often would necessitate the sorts of activity and we'll call it conflict resolution that would veer into violence because there's no access to civil litigation or these sorts of things. Disagreements are resolved physically in these environments. So it's not like they were all playing patty cake. There was definitely some violence associated with outlaw cannabis growing. But in terms of what we're talking about as Cornbread Mafia has popped up recently in Tennessee, there's not been any sort of human trafficking associated with Cornbread Mafia ever.
Right. And can you explain to me what it was like being one of the first journalists subpoenaed under the Obama administration to speak about your relationship with Johnny Boone?
It was not pleasant, I'll tell you that.
I can only imagine. Just to elaborate on that, was there any backlash from the Cornbread Mafia over that, or because
no, there wasn't, because I did the right thing. To give you some context, I spent several years reporting the story, and in the context of reporting the story, interviewed a gentleman named Johnny Boone, who the government in the 80s assumed was one of the ringleaders of this operation. I spoke with him off and on for over a year in the window of 2007, 2008. In the course of reporting on him and interviewing him, he got in trouble again, allegedly growing cannabis again on his farm in the spring of 2008. And he became a fugitive. Mm-hmm. And the federal government, the law enforcement raided his property, his house, found materials in his house that connected him to me because I'd been meeting with him for a year. At that point, I had moved out of Kentucky back to New York City. And so I was living in New York while this manhunt for Johnny Boone was going on. The feds assumed that I knew things about his potential whereabouts that might help their case for their manhunt to find him. I was not interested in sharing any information that they might want to have. I was a journalist interviewing people. I wasn't going to divulge sources to the government. Right. There were photographs that I had taken of Johnny Boone in a location that was very, very clearly not Kentucky. The photograph that's on the cover of the Cornbread Mafia book of Johnny Boone with no shirt in what appears to be a tropical location. I took that photograph. The federal government knew that I took that photograph because I'd made one set of prints of that photograph, had given it to Johnny Boone. And then when the feds raided his property, they found the one set of photographs that I made for him So they wanted to know where I'd taken those photographs, and I was not interested in telling them.
Right.
So
Were you able to, as a journalist myself, were you able to overcome that? Because, I've always, was taught that we have protection as journalists.
well, you do and you don't. So First Amendment protections for journalists in First Amendment protections generally are different in each circuit court, and different circuits have different permissions for journalists, depending on which circuit you're in. The circuit that we're in Kentucky is not great. And so our initial motion to quash the subpoena on simple First Amendment grounds was not granted by the judge. Now, what that means is, strictly speaking, procedurally, if a federal grand jury wants you to speak and you are a journalist and don't want to, what happens is you go into the grand jury, you don't answer questions, and then the prosecutor puts you before the judge. The judge grants you immunity, whether you ask for it or want it or not. That's a concept called forced immunity. And then once you're granted immunity, if you don't answer questions in the grand jury, then you're held in contempt, and then you're subject to 18 months in prison. Yeah. So that's the process that I was looking down the barrel on in the morning of, I believe, February 9th, 2009. No, it wasn't the 9th. It was later in the month. It was February of 2009. What happened was my motion to quash the subpoena was not successful, but the prosecutor realized that if I was claiming journalistic protections, had he followed Justice Department procedure for subpoenaing a member of the news media, and did I qualify for that, those protections that the Justice Department have outlined. So there's a 5-page guideline in the Justice Department rule book for prosecutors about what to do with news media. Did I qualify for that, and had they followed that? They had not followed that, and I did qualify. Even though I wasn't currently employed by a news organization, I was on a book contract with a publisher. I had earned income from the previous year as a freelancer from a variety of known outlets. And I was a not too recent graduate of the Columbia Journalism School. So my bona fides as a journalist, even though I wasn't working as a member of a news media organization at the time, qualified me for these protections. And those protections are the prosecutor is required to meet with the journalist, with an attorney, to see if they can get the information that they need without subpoenaing them, without putting them in front of a grand jury. They have to exhaust all these options until there's no option left. And they just hadn't done that. And U.S. attorneys' offices that aren't New York or DC or LA, that aren't used to dealing with media on a regular basis, don't often know how to interact with media and feel like they can steamroll them just like they can everyone else. So it's important for journalists and citizen journalists to know that with a good attorney, you can stand up and force the government to at least slow down the process to confirm that your First Amendment rights are not violated.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you said that you're from the county that this whole Cornbread Mafia was kind of formed in. Is that what drew you to this particular story?
Sure. Growing up, when all this went down, I was in middle school. It was very traumatic to the community, to my parents and my parents' peers in the adult community. Like as a kid, you could see it being a real problem for the community, not just in terms of a small community being singled out by the federal government and the media as this bad place, but what that did to the economic development of our community, to the school system, to the general well-being of the community was negatively affected by the notoriety. And it just was fascinating also because there was this disconnect between what we're being told in public about the nature of drug dealers and drugs being bad. And these people that were being singled out and targeted in our community relative to the Cornbread Mafia did not seem to be outrageously bad people. They were parents of our classmates. They were people, they were members of the community. They were, a little wild and somewhat transgressive. They drove cars that were crazy and did crazy things, but they were still members of the community and weren't seen as dangerous, violent, evil people. They were parents of classmates.
It was more of a stigma probably at the time related to, cannabis consumption and growth.
Oh, 100%. It was pure Reagan propaganda against cannabis and laid down heavy on my hometown. So that story and how it affected my community just stayed with me. And I went off to school to be a writer, to tell a story. And I had this story kind of like I had somewhat of a hold on it, but didn't know quite how to tell it, and just knew that that was important. It had some cultural relevance that people needed to know about it. And so that's what compelled me to.
And living it, I'm sure, had a lot to do with it too, because you had more inside knowledge than really anybody that would be writing a book like this.
Right. Without being from the community, there would be no way to have cracked into that story. People hadn't talked about it for 20 years and talked to me about it for the first time.
Right. Now, have you ever heard about Summer Wells, the missing 5-year-old girl from Rogersville, Tennessee?
Not until the Dr. Phil episode.
And what did you think when, we still haven't determined where the first time we heard Cornbread Mafia be brought up, except Dr. Phil. And when you heard that on the Dr. Phil show, what went through your head with all this knowledge of the Cornbread Mafia?
Oh, here we go again.
Gotcha.
Not the first time that Cornbread Mafia has been evoked in a context that is not accurate.
And let's see, did you hear the Cornbread Mafia might be involved? And what did you think about that? I think you just answered that. Have you ever heard of the Cornbread Mafia ever taking children? And I think you spoke about that just briefly earlier. You're telling me that they had children in schools and things of that nature. Sound like family folks that lived on the wild side. So the idea of them taking children or putting children into the trafficking children, what are your feelings about that? How would you explain to the audience, in conjunction with the Cornbread Mafia?
That it's completely inaccurate and unfair and does a huge disservice to these men who were prosecuted as Cornbread Mafia, who sacrificed decades of their life on nonviolent cannabis cultivation crimes in order to protect members of their own families and their own communities, to then disparage their reputation by associating them with cheap human trafficking is really frustrating and just I don't have the words this morning to describe exactly how I feel about it, but it makes me angry when people throw this Cornbread Mafia term around to try to gain some notoriety around something that the people who were truly associated with the Cornbread Mafia had nothing to do with. Right.
And we were out, a group of us on my team, and one of them reached out to you, Jonathan Lee Riches, AKA JLR. We went out to Rogersville, Tennessee, and a few of the things that we asked, anywhere we stopped, we asked, workers at stores, workers at fast food joints, people on the road, if they've ever heard about Cornbread Mafia ever being in Tennessee, ever heard about anything. And all of them, I didn't meet one person in Rogersville, Tennessee, or the Hawkins County area, or even Sullivan County for that matter, that said that they've ever heard of the Cornbread Mafia ever being in Tennessee. So, I was a little taken back of where this Cornbread Mafia came up and how they would be associated with the Summer Wells case. I never really believed it personally, that they were ever involved, and actually did another podcast several months ago, actually asking the Cornbread Mafia, if any member wants to come and talk to me, I believe you. I don't think you had anything to do with this. I didn't get a call, but I did throw that out there for them. So how much time did the members of the Cornbread Mafia receive in their sentencing?
Anywhere from 6 months to 35 years.
Oh, wow. And I'm assuming Johnny Boone was the one that got the 35 years?
No, he did time, but he didn't do 35. He did shy of 10 or 15, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
In late 87, out in 2002 or 2003. Yeah, another guy did the 35. There were a couple of 20-year sentences in between there too.
Gotcha. So, but most everybody, or if not everybody, has now been released from jail,
including including one guy who was in prison for life without parole for 3 strikes violations, all for cannabis cultivation. His prison sentence was commuted by President Obama.
Wow, that's amazing. And the only reason I say that is because, we're in the true crime community, and to hear that somebody's getting a life sentence, I mean, in this day and age, a life sentence over cannabis cultivation is just insane to me. When we hear stories of somebody murdering somebody and, getting 15 years or 20 years, it's amazing to me. And it's just, it blows my mind. It blows my mind. Let me ask you point blank, do you believe, with your vast knowledge, just on the record, your vast knowledge of the Cornbread Mafia, everything you know about them, I mean, you lived it, you grew up with it, you wrote about it. Do you think they had anything to do with Summer Wells' disappearance?
No.
Okay. So I hear that you have a new venture, that you're kind of put your pen and pencil away, and your writing days are kind of behind you. Tell me what you're doing these days.
Sure. So the success of the Cornbread Mafia book led me into a journalism career. I was covering cannabis policy for national publications. And in 2018, while we were covering the Farm Bill that was going to legalize hemp for good, realized it was this amazing opportunity to start a hemp brand. And so I joined forces with my cousin, Eric Zipperly, who's now my CEO. And we founded Cornbread Hemp. And Cornbread Hemp is a CBD company based here in Kentucky. We make full spectrum certified organic CBD products. We use flower only extraction, and that makes some of the best CBD products in America. And we ship to all 50 states and U.S. territories. And this is the culmination of my life's work, telling the story of the Cornbread Mafia, leading me into a journalism career, and now creating a brand that brings a Kentucky agricultural product legally to everyone in America.
It's amazing, night and day from the days of your book being written to today, you being, legally able to make hemp products is pretty amazing. And it shows the changes in perception of the hemp, the cannabis, stuff. And for years, I heard in medical journals them speak very highly of cannabis products and all the good benefits that they do for people medically as well. So I'm kind of glad that they have moved that over. Explain to us what sets your hemp apart from other hemp on the market.
Well, a few things. One, certified organic is very important because there's no other federal regulations on CBD products. And so if you're looking for a quality product, the only way to really know very quickly is with that USDA organic seal. And there's other organic CBD products, but we're the only one that is a flower only extraction, which means no stems and sticks and leaves in our product. And you can tell that quality in the first taste of it. And then also we're leaning into the THC that we're allowed to offer.
Gotcha.
We offer up to 2 milligrams of THC per serving, along with 50 milligrams of CBD in our gummies and our stronger oils. And that makes a big difference.
And that actually brings me to another question is, what kind of products does your hemp sell? You're talking about gummies, some oils. Why don't you go over maybe some of your top product lines?
Sure. Our top sellers is our organic CBD gummies. We're the only certified organic CBD gummy in America, and followed very closely by our CBD oils. And then We have a full line of certified organic CBD topicals, lotions, and balm. We sell capsules, and we have a pet product as well for pet owners with pets who are either anxious or have mobility problems.
Gotcha. Yeah. And tell our audience how they could purchase some of your Cornbread Hemp products.
They can find us at cornbreadhemp.com. They can find us on Twitter at Cornbread Hemp and on Instagram at Cornbread_hemp.
Awesome. Well, Jim, I appreciate all your time. I know you have been busy and we've worked very hard to get this interview together.
I apologize for the scheduling issues.
That is okay. I'm so thankful that I got to speak with you. You know, I really thought that you were more of an expert than anybody else. I mean, you wrote a book about the Cornbread Mafia, and if anybody could set the tone and explain what they were, what they have been, if they are still today, would be you. And I'm just so thankful for your time. Thank you so much. And I will make sure that when I run this, which I'm going to run it later this afternoon, ways for people to go on your Instagram and Twitter are available to the audience.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye. So there you have it, folks. There you have it. That is the interview with Jim Higdon. The name on the book is James, his real name, James Higdon. Thank you. We worked very hard to get that interview, and it's kind of crazy because, you know, he is the expert on the Cornbread Mafia. He was actually subpoenaed to provide information on the whereabouts of Johnny Boone by the Obama administration, or during one of the very first subpoenas under the Obama administration. A lot of misconceptions were that all 70 people were commuted of their sentencing, when in fact it was just one. It was just one that had the life sentence that was commuted by President Obama. And I'm sure he's very thankful. You know, us here in the true crime community, you know, in this day and age in 2022, where there's medical uses and other things, some states that are, you know, have, you know, no restrictions anymore. It's hard to believe that there are truly, in fact, some people that received a life sentence for cannabis cultivation. So yes, it was a great interview and I enjoyed speaking to him, but I wanted to put this Cornbread Mafia business to bed once and for all, you know, and it's still circulating that they could potentially have some kind of involvement, and they don't. A lot of these people are, much old. This all happened back in the 70s and 80s. And I believe a lot of them were arrested and convicted in 1989 and, in and around that era. So the idea that they, have any involvement in snatching children is a farce. It's a farce. And it makes me wonder why Dr. Phil thought of them. And there had to have been a reason. And I'd like to know who told Dr. Phil. We still haven't determined that yet. I've looked everywhere on the internet. I tried to find out who brought them up first. I, did a lot of digging and could not determine outside of it being brought up on the Dr. Phil show. And so I just, thank you, Patricia. Thank you. But just trying to put these pieces together. And many of you guys know I did a piece, I want to say, oh geez, I don't even know when I did the piece before. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I know I had it tagged as Cornbread Mafia. Okay, here's their Twitter page, Cornbread Hemp. And then I just had their Instagram page, Cornbread-Hemp. If anybody's interested, and of course, cornbreadhemp.com has a lot of hemp products for sale. Obviously legalized in all 50 states in the United States. So if that's something that you guys use or utilize, here's a great product that you can utilize that is, natural. He went through why his hemp is set apart from other hemp products. So if you want to show him some love and support, if that's stuff that you, need therapy. I know that there's a lot of people that have anxious dogs. Might be a product that you could use for your, to help calm your anxious animal. So lots of uses. Don't forget to go and buy and give your love to Jim Higdon. He did take his time out. He's very, very busy. He's been traveling all over the country and was able to provide me about 30 to 40 minutes today of his time for us to get to the bottom of this Cornbread Mafia and whether they were involved with the disappearance of Summer Wells. I think we can all conclude they had nothing to do with it. Let me just pull up my YouTube page and see if we can bring up the Cornbread Mafia segment. Let me see what we got here. See if I stuck them in the Summer Wells case. I don't know if I did or not. Let's just see. Oh, stop. I just want to see what other ones are in here. I have it in here already. I do not. So let me go back. I know I got it in here. I know it was from some time ago. So I just got to find it. We've done quite a few videos, I have to say, guys. My word. We've definitely been a lot of different cases in here. Gabby Petito. You guys should go back and watch some of this stuff. Go back to the beginning. Lots of good stuff. Let me see if I still haven't been able to find it yet. It was really long ago. I hate when I do that. I keep hitting the wrong button. Sorry about that, guys. I'm still trying to find it. Maybe I'll find it before long. Hold on here. I think we're getting down to where I ran it. My word, we did a lot on Summer Wells, haven't we? So anyways, guys, as I'm trying to find this information on him, I'll get it up here shortly. I may have to run it tomorrow if I can't find it right now, because it looks like I was doing a lot of stuff back then, and I just don't see it popping up here. I just don't see it. So I wish there's, I can search. Hold on, let me see if I can search. Let's see if I can find it this way. Yay! I found it. Look at that. So I actually ran this story 3 months ago, guys. 3 months ago. So let me see if I can pull this up. We're probably going to have some interviews or advertisements that we're going to have to go. But let me see if I can just see what I said back then. Shall we? So. Let's see if we can get time and what have you on there. Many of you guys now know that we are going to Tennessee. We're going to be going to Tennessee just like on Tuesday, just for a couple days. So we're going to have a whole day of driving on Tuesday. We'll be there Wednesday and Thursday and be heading back on Friday. But please, come forward and tell us what they have heard from this family, because this family's not being forthcoming. They're acting like they're putting the blame on other people, right? And that brings me up to the next topic of conversation here is the cornbread or cornmeal or corn whatever mafia, right? Watching again, Dr. Phil. I mean, he had a good an hour and 15 minutes of great information, body language, accounts of the SPACs, how they reacted to tough questions, all these things. And one thing that came up was the cornbread or cornmeal or corn something mafia. And look, I am asking anybody that's associated with this group, I've dealt with a lot of bad groups, and a lot of bad groups still have a spokesperson, right? And I don't think that you guys are bad people. I don't. I think you guys are being thrown under the bus. I think you guys have a bad rap, and people are pointing fingers at you. I'm behooving you to come on, reach out to me, message me. I want to hear from you. I don't believe you guys are a party to this. I want to give you an opportunity. We'll obscure your face if necessary. I want to give you guys the opportunity to tell your story. Do you even know this family? Do you even know them? And if you do, how do you know them? We're not going to ask you anything to implicate yourselves in crimes or anything of that nature. We want to make sure that you guys are absolutely 100% able to speak your truth without having any backlash. We want to do whatever we can to protect you. I need to know your side of the story, guys. You guys are getting a bad rap over this. It's putting speculation in people's minds. I don't believe it. I've been around a bunch of bad guys. I've been around mafia guys. I've been around bikers. I could tell you that many of them don't screw with 5-year-old kids. You're better off getting your throat slit or your knees cracked or your legs broken before kidnapping a 5-year-old kid. So we're going to give you the platform. I'm just taking a few minutes. We're going on 25 minutes here. I'm going to be cutting off about 30 minutes into this. But I wanted to give you guys a shout out. I'm telling you, you guys can look at it, see it in my eyes. You can see it in my body language. I don't believe you had anything to do with this. I don't. I want you guys to figure out who your spokesperson is. Get the cleanest guy you got, somebody with no rap sheet. We can use code words, code names, whatever you need. I need some information. I need you guys on the record. 3 months ago. I am here to help you. Give me a chance. All right. With that being said, we did cover it previously. It was covered. I did cover the Cornbread Mafia, Cornmeal Mafia. I don't know. This is actually one of the very first deals I did. I wasn't on the YouTube channel very long when I ran this. I ran this December 2nd. This is before our first trip to Rogersville, Tennessee, before our first trip. So, we were digging into this case for a long time prior to us getting involved in the case. And, this whole thing, it sucks because we never really wanted to get involved with the Summer Wells case because of the horrible things that we heard, that if we went out there, these people shoot first, ask questions later, that these people are a bunch of hillbilly redneck people that don't like outsiders and everything like that. They really did on social media try to scare anybody and everybody away from this case to going out there and actually doing work on this case, physically doing work on this case, not sitting at home in the comfort of your home talking about it, but physically going out there and finding answers. And I have to say that the reception that we got on our first and second trip there was very welcoming, even from law enforcement. Second trip, we coordinated with law enforcement. I personally coordinated with law enforcement. They knew me. They were, even coming up and asking, is Miss Griffin here? Yes, I'm right here. They appreciated us coordinating with them on the second trip because we were doing the TBI and the DCS. It was a small, it was small. It was just our team doing these protests. And typically we have more people out there, but it was freezing cold weather out there. We were cold. And, it didn't matter. When we go out, we do what we feel is right all the time. And that's what we felt was the right thing to do. We had enough information. We wanted to pressure and let our voices be heard to TBI and to the DCS and to, the state police, that we feel more needs to be done with the parents. I really feel that the judge heard our calling when he gave Don an 1129. I really truly believe he heard every one of you that sent in mail, whether he could open it and read it or not. I think he got the message. And, I really hope, it is my hope that, this case is blown open. And I do feel that they are working very hard and around the clock on this case. What my biggest frustration with the Summer Wells case is that they have enough to arrest them on something and hold those parents right now. And they did that with Don Wells. They finally did that with Don Wells. But we still have Candace Wells out here acting like a fool, acting like a complete fool on YouTube. We are all watching her with bated breath. We're all, subscribed to her channel, just waiting for her to slip so we can throw it up on our channel and talk about it. I just wish she was gone, as far as going to jail, where we didn't have that opportunity. And people are talking about us, the opposition to Candace and Don being these grifters and, picking the bones of a missing child, which is untrue. Everybody that watches these things know that it's untrue. But what about the people on the opposite end that are picking the bones of Don and Candace and profiting off of it? They're okay. They get a free pass. So, and with that, I agree with you, Amy. I agree. And it's just very frustrating for me. It truly is very frustrating that you got even earlier today, somebody saying, you're making anybody on YouTube that you watch a video to go watch their channel or watch their segment. Guess what? They're making money. There is not one person on YouTube that's not aspiring to meet the criteria to get Google AdSense. That's what, this is what I do. I do research all day. I mean, if I turn this around, you guys would be amazed how much paperwork is sitting right here on my desk that I go through. When we talk, and I have somebody in here talking about, Texas law and Tennessee, and I have something like this where I can pop up and tell them what Tennessee requirements are. Or when we're talking about Don Wells, and I can pull right this and tell them about his record, or the incident reports and the video or the audio that we have. This is work. I don't know what people are saying when they say, you don't work. Are you kidding me? I research. Look at this stuff. We even have, how much research we do? Let me show you here. We even go as far as, finding where the wells, the septic tank, are on the property of their home. We go as far as pulling large maps from their county. We got this in Rogersville. I don't get when they say I'm not working. This sure feels like work to me. This case sure feels like work to me, and not only just work, emotional work. The people, you guys, me, our team, this is emotional work for us. We're talking about a 5-year-old child that went missing. She is now 6 years old. We are 9 months into this case, and nobody knows where she's at. It's sad. And if there's anybody that's going to be fighting in her corner, believe me, our team is a bunch of fighters. And people want to bring up our backgrounds, but they want to absolve these despicable parents that let their children live in squalor's background. And we're not supposed to talk about them because we have a background. I'm sorry, I'm not missing a 5-year-old, now 6-year-old child. I've never had that issue in my background, ever. Jonathan has never had that issue in his background, ever. And I can tell you, I've had to work harder than anybody else out there with a pristine background. I can tell you that. I've had to claw, fight, and climb up out of the hole that I dug for myself. And nobody that has never been to rock bottom will ever understand that. Nobody. So I'm telling you, if anybody's fighting for this child, we are. There's a whole group of us. There is a whole community of us fighting for this child. And you know what? There's a whole community out there that are saying they're fighting for this child that are not. Pick a side. There's a whole entire community that's screaming Team Summer that isn't really Team Summer. Do we cover other cases? Of course. Of course we do. So, you know, we have a lot of things going on in the Department of Children and Family Services and the alphabet soup of child welfare. We're seeing it play out every single day. We're seeing it played out in, you know, Serenity McKinney, bless her soul, she was found. We've watched it play out in Kiara Cotton. Her beautiful baby was found. But there's so many children. These are the ones we hear about. These are the ones that are being noticed by social media. These are the ones that are being brought to light. How many more aren't? I want you guys to think about that. None of us knew about Oakley. None of us knew about Harmony. None of us knew about Serenity for years. Lost in the system and gone. How many more? How many more are there? Breaks your heart. Breaks your heart. So, anyways, guys, we're about an hour and a half in, so let's open it up to questions. I'm going to put the invite down here. If you guys want to come on the panel, and you know, even if you oppose viewpoints, that's fine. We can oppose viewpoints all we want, but at the end of the day, let's just all be respectful. Everybody has the right to make their comments or state something that they disagree with or they agree with. What are their highlights and lowlights of, you know, the Cornbread Mafia? What are your thoughts on the Summer Wells case? You know, let's we're going to open this panel up to you to come on here, ask questions. If you don't want to, you know, you guys can, I'm happy to answer questions in the chat. But we're going to have to, we're going to be raising money here. We got a trip. Oh, and just to let you know, we have a trip. Many of you know that's unrelated to Summer Wells, but it's a big trip. We've already got a whole line of people lined up to interview. I wish I could tell you guys more about it, but I cannot. And because of, you know, you guys see what plays out on YouTube. I can't have it torpedoed because, you know, it's going to cost us about $1,750. We have had a donor graciously donate $50. It's in this chat right now toward that. I actually have foregone a rally in Michigan, so there is no misconceptions that I'm using money for personal use. I don't want to have that misconception because that is not the team trip. So I have forego that trip to Michigan, which is not next week, but the week after. I will be here, but we are going to Michigan for a very, very important case it has notoriety. And we've already have a whole line of people for interviews, and it's a big case that we are going to at the end of April, beginning of May. We're not sure exactly on the timing. Again, we are at $50 of a $1,750 budget. If you guys would like to contribute to this trip, you can do so down here. Super chats and super stickers are great, but this is a way for 100% of your proceeds to go to that trip. Anything that is collected in the next month, either on Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App, will not be deposited into my account until we are ready to go. All that money is just going to stay collected in those specific accounts until we're buying our plane tickets and buying our renting our car and things of that nature. So I'm just throwing that out there. We do have a big trip coming up at the end of April, probably maybe the first or second week of May latest. So we'll keep you guys posted on that, but you guys will love it. And I promise you, we will not disappoint you in the message, in the interviews, and in the work that we're doing in Michigan. Harley, I cannot say, I'm sorry, but I probably said too much. I actually slipped on the Michigan, but that's okay. But that's all I can say about that. And I'm sure you guys understand why. And Ella, you don't have to like it. You don't have to even respect me. I don't care. If you don't want to support me, don't. It's just that simple. It seriously is just that simple. The people that want to support me will always support me. The ones that don't like you will never. So why don't you quit trying to get recognition on my channel since you hate me so much? Why don't you quit begging for attention? Just saying. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you. Yes, we found out yesterday, today is Gabby Petito's birthday. We were out at Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park yesterday with a crew of, I don't want to say media crew because they weren't really a media crew. They were a TV crew out there at Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park, showing them where Brian remains and everything were found out there. So they could get, they wanted the coordinates, and we're like, there's no way you're going to be able to find it with the coordinates. We need to show you. So that's what we did yesterday. We went out there and actually went out there and saw one of the people that helped us do a lot of search out there. Many of you know, after they found, can I turn this? There we go. There we all are right there. Last night at Beef O'Brady's having dinner after showing the crew where everything was. They got the drone out. They got their big camera out. It was pretty spectacular to see. And, it's just, it was really nice. But again, for those that want to support our upcoming trip, you are more than welcome. You're not being browbeat. No guns being held to anybody's head for all the haters out there. My word. So happy birthday, Gabby. And it comes back to that that lawsuit. The lawsuit's going on in Sarasota, one county over. June 30th, they're having a case conference or status update on the case on June 30th at 1:30. And you know who will be there? The original protester. And I'm going to try and drag the other original protester right alongside of me. It's kind of crazy because our schedules are getting so hectic and so busy, especially with our new volunteering, schedule. Like we're now volunteering for certain things around the county to help make our counties a better place for all. And it's really getting a little cray-cray with the scheduling. So the team is still very much strong. We're just right now in a stalemate, until the end of April, beginning of May. Olivia's having to do her stuff. We did go out and get some content yesterday. We'll be putting that together probably later today, maybe tomorrow. Many of you guys know I am taking off. I'm trying to take off Sunday for some much needed downtime. I may be live tomorrow. I may not. You guys are just going to have to watch and see. It depends on if I'm feeling like going live. But some days I just feel like I need some downtime. This stuff does get to you emotionally, especially covering the story like we did, Gabby Petito, Serenity McKinney, Summer Wells. It does get to you every now and again. I'm also working on getting a family member of Crystal Turner's to come up to kind of talk about Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner. As many of you guys know, we were out in Moab. We were one of the first crews that went out there to try to assist in the case and do some interviews. And we were able to turn over a lot of new information to the people that needed to have it. And again, a lot of that information, a lot of the information that we got has never been brought to light, has never been posted on YouTube. And it was done by design because in the grand scheme of things, you guys help us push a message. You help get attention to cases. But at the end of the day, we're here to help the case, not hinder the case. And so there are just some things that we can't do. All right, we're going to have Alexandra, if you'd like. I know you're probably not one of my biggest fans, so I'm going to allow you some time on here. Did you want to have your face on, or did you want to remove your camera? I didn't know which one you wanted to do. I can't hear you. I'll go ahead and bring you up on the panel.
I think I've got my microphone on. Am I mic'd?
No, you're mic'd. You're good. I just was asking. I didn't know because I can't hear you when you're in the back studio, but you can hear me. And I was wanting to see if some people don't want their face on, so I was just making sure that you. So how are you?
That's okay. I'm very good, Betty. Let me just say, I apologise earlier. I sent you a question and someone in the chat answered on your behalf, which I didn't, I didn't like the fact that and then I said, hang on, I didn't ask you that question. I asked Betty the question. Please don't answer on her behalf. I'm not decrying. Let me make this abundantly clear, lovely. I respect you. I've watched you day in, day out. I'm in England. I'm not in America, and we are a little tiny island compared to your states. So, but I respect you, and I love everything that you have done.
Oh, thank
you.
The
one thing that that's okay, lovely, and I do respect you. I really do respect you, and I also respect, you probably don't like other channels mentioned on your names, but CLL, I love. Brooks is brilliant, and I know you appear on there very, because I watch her every day. My question was that when I watched JLR this afternoon, I probably caught it on the catch-up, obviously, one that he posted, and I saw MGL put some money in Ali's pocket, and Ali, and this is, please hear me out, lovely. Mm-hmm. Ali just went, like, oh, thanks. Like putting money in her pocket. I mean, if it was me, and I'm not everybody, and I don't speak for everybody, but when my sons were here and they were watching it as well, and they went, what the fuck does she just do? And I said, she just put money in her pocket. And then she went, what the fucking hell is she cashing in for? I'm sorry to use expletives, but that was the excuse. What the fuck is she cashing in for? This is her. Okay, her ex-best friend, but she's supposed to be for summer. Mm-hmm. And it really, you've got to understand where I'm coming from as a viewer. Yeah. I'm thinking, hang on, she is now accepting a backhander, like a back pocket payment for talking. Well, and that really didn't sit well with me, lovely.
Yeah, in all fairness, we didn't even know that MGL was doing that, and I doubt that Ali did either. I don't even think Ali knew what. No,
Ali did because I saw it, and we actually rewound it and we watched it, and Ali just. If it was me, I would have gone, take your money because I don't want it, and I'm not everybody, and I don't speak for everybody, and your commenter, hello. Ret, R-E-T, he said, oh, what would you do if you're working your butt off? Well, hang on, I do work my butt off. I'm 61 years old in next month, and I've worked my butt off, paid taxes, but I certainly would not accept money just for talking about, and that's what I was trying to say to you, lovely. It's not, I wasn't trying to be
concern. I absolutely agree with your concern. That's why I don't pay for people's interviews, but I can tell you that interview and that exchange was not something any of us, none of us knew, because even after it, we asked MGL, what did you put in her pocket? We thought it was a note. We didn't even see it because we were so, if you saw how everything was transpiring, we had like 4 or 5 people around us and we were all talking to them. So we didn't actually see that actually transpire until after we had left. And then we had asked her and she's like, oh, it was just $60. She goes, I felt she needed it. But I can tell you, she didn't ask for it. It was never discussed. It was just something that apparently MGL felt compelled to do. And I can tell you,
and that, look, lovely, I understand that, you know, MGL, she might have a little bit more money and she may have felt compassion for this lady, and to slip her a few quid is one thing, but it just was distasteful to me as a viewer. And you know, I don't decry, I do not decry. And when you said to me earlier on in your life and you sort of, you know, planted it out there, goes, we did, I don't decry the amount of work that you guys put into these shows. I know you work fucking hard. I know you work hard. And I do not decry the amount of hard work that you geezers put into this, your shows. Especially you. And one thing that you don't do, which I love about you, is that you don't go off at a tangent and start playing stupid songs and start making up. I'll leave it to your discretion to work out who I'm talking about. But, you know, everybody's got their stance on this and you're all in there. I understand YouTube is a business. And I accept that. You're all self-employed and everybody has to make a pound. Everybody has to make a dollar. I don't decry that. What I didn't like when I saw JLR, and I'm not saying you saw it, or you witnessed it and probably didn't notice, like you said, until afterwards. But it was distasteful, and it was a little bit uneasy, probably for you guys to edit.
Yeah,
you know, you probably could have. Even if you put a shadow over it, even if you shadowed it over it, probably would have brought more attention to it.
Yeah. And, you know, and again, that's why we always try to make team decisions, you know, prior to these encounters. So things like that don't happen. But again, this was one of our first trips. It was one of our first times out with MGL. We didn't know, you know, that first trip was actually a very good and productive trip, but there were still some things we didn't know how she dealt with things, and obviously deals with things a little bit different than our team does. You know,
like a loose
somebody for an interview for dinner or something, we may buy their dinner or something like that, but we really don't provide money to anybody for their interview. And we do that for a variety of reasons. We don't ever want anybody coming back and saying, hey, you purchased that interview.
You paid that, so you need, now you owe us. I get that. But that's what I was trying to point out to you, lovely. I don't have a problem with you, Betty. I mean, I did say, well, you know, I had a lot of respect for you. That was my comment. You'll read it later on. I said, well, I had a lot of respect for you up until now, so fuck you. But, you know, I do respect you. I do. I think you're brilliant. I watch your morning programs. I mean, you know, I drink coffee probably more copiously than you do. And that's saying something.
My teeth because of my coffee addiction.
I love coffee. I drink coffee copiously. But you know, listen, lovely, this is not about you. This is not against you. It was something, it was just, you know, from an outsider observing. And it was like, that's a bit distasteful.
Yeah.
I think if it had been me, you guys had approached me as if I was Alison, I would be going, I don't want that money. I'm talking here freely for my, she might not be my friend. She might not be my number one, you know, person that I adore. I don't like Candace. I think she's a creep. I think she's a, I could go on, I will stop.
Right.
But I appreciate what you guys did. You, actually, I appreciate you and Olivia. I love you guys. I think you two are brilliant.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And, you know,
And
again,
please don't think of me. Please don't think of me, lovely, as your number one enemy, because I'm not against you. I am certainly not against you. I have been, you know, I've invested over, you know, well, 9 months, like you have, lovely. 9 months, like everybody has. We just want this little girl found. I'm not against summer. I am summer's army. Last year, June, when it all hit, normally I'm out in my garden sunbathing. I'm in my conservatory going, oh, and then I get my phone and I'll plug that in. The bloody battery dies. Oh, but I can't. I have missed a whole year. You've missed a whole year. We have all missed a whole year of our lives.
Yeah. And it's been an emotional roller coaster too.
Investing in this little girl. And you know, I've done the Madeleine McCann case. I'm still following Madeleine McCann. You know Madeleine McCann. Everybody knows Madeleine McCann. If you don't know Madeleine McCann, you must have just come out of a rock. And I don't believe the parents in that case. I know it's a different subject. Talk to me another time. I'll give you my phone number.
Maybe we will have you up here again, because I mean the chat loves you. They're digging you. So
I can't see the chat. I can't see the chat because I usually watch on my TV in my conservatory. You know, I watch it on TV. But if I because I've come live, I have to turn the television off, otherwise I get feedback. So I'm on my phone. So, but anyway, thank you everybody. I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, but it just seems to me I'm watching this case daily from the first, and Chris McDonough, I adore him, he's brilliant. I adore you. All these people, when I say all these people that have come into this case, I don't mean YouTubers. I adore the YouTubers. I channel hop like a bloody prostitute, like a bee on a flower. I simply am. I'm like, what's this one? That one. Oh, Navelous. Oh, that's a new one. I adore Michelle After Dark, Navelous. You know, all these people are brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. There are others when I go, oh, fuck off, can't be bothered. Pissing me off. You ain't got a clue. You ain't got a clue about this. I've sort of followed it from day one. Mm-hmm. And I'm in the UK. Mm-hmm. And, you know, how bizarre is that? There were people in America, I haven't even heard of this little girl.
Right.
And that is sickening. And I'm sorry, I'm shouting now. I'm getting really animated.
It happens. I do the same thing. I start talking.
I know. I listen to you, and that's what coffee does. That's the caffeine. Yeah. Gives you a high. But you know, I'm not against you. I don't know. What do I call you?
You coming in here in the air. You know, I didn't know what you were going to say, but I figured you were showing your face, so you must have been ready to. You know, I figured as long as we're respectful, even if we were opposing positions, it would still be good, because you know a lot of people come on here and say that I block people that oppose me. I don't. I'm giving them opportunities to speak, and you know, I'm glad that we can see eye to eye on some things. You know, and we actually, believe it or not, agree on a lot of what you're saying.
My heart is for Summer. Mm-hmm. I'm a UK native. My heart is and still is for Summer, and it still is for Madeleine McCann. Mm-hmm. And I followed that case, and the little girl, she was 4 when she went missing. She's almost 19. Mm. And anybody out there listening, I'm going to give CMMOM, that is the complete mystery of the, you know, Madeleine McCann. Mm-hmm. Go check out their website. The complete mystery of Madeleine McCann. She went missing 4 years old in Portugal. Never happened before, never happened since. Wow. The parents are guilty. I will stand by that. And I don't give a fucking flying shit if their solicitors come after me and go, oh, you just said it on YouTube. Oh, come after me. Right, I will stand in court. I agree that those parents are guilty, as the same as the Wells are guilty. They know what happened to that little girl. I don't know no more than you, and that's what the crime community does. And I applaud you all. I would never decry you. I'll tell you what, I'll give you 50 quid. Send me your cash up. I'll send it to you. Because I agree with what you're doing, and I applaud what you're doing. Yeah. I'm trying to send Brooke some money. Mm-hmm. And I actually got kicked out of bloody Google because I couldn't remember my passwords.
I know, it's so hard. I have a spreadsheet.
I will send you guys that I believe in, like you, like Brooks, like Michelle After Dark, which she doesn't have a Cash App, and if she does, I don't know because I don't do Facebook. And Chris McDonough, people I believe in, I will happily send you $5, $25, whatever that is in the UK equivalent. I don't care. I don't know, because I agree with your cause, and I would love to be able to help you to get to the bottom of where this little girl is, because she
matters.
I love her.
Yeah, she matters.
She
captured the love and the support of many people across the world. And it's just sad that with all of our resources, we still can't bring her home.
I know. And that is why I follow you guys. Because one of these days I'm going to pick up, that's why I'm this little bees. I'll listen to that one, listen to that one. There's something. It'll be a small thing. And something else I noticed, and I did say this to Brooks, I sent her an email and said, there's something on Chris McDonough. He said that the window to the basement door, and help, I'm asking you, because I've asked Brooks, and hopefully, love you, Brooks, I hope you're listening, or you'll get wind of this, but I sent her an email and said, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's something about that cellar door that doesn't ring true. You know, Chris McDonough said that it's a one-way glass. You can see out, but you can't see in. Do you remember that?
There is tent that does provide that. I didn't see tent on the glass. I could be wrong. I could have misunderstood. But what I do know about that particular door going out from the basement is it always had a couch in front of it. When they called law enforcement to say that Summer was missing, that couch was moved. And I want to know when it was moved, because that everybody said there was a couch in front of the door and it stayed there.
Sure. There's two things I want to bring up with you, Betty, about this before I go. And I don't want to belabor this, but one thing is the glass in the door. Chris McDonough said that the glass, when you're outside, you can't see in, but when you're inside, you can see out. So it's like a one-way glass.
It's it's probably a mirrored tent. They make a mirrored tent that goes on windows for that effect. Yes, there is stuff. I understand what you're saying, but it's usually a mirrored tent.
Right, I've never heard of that expression, but when there are other people that have gone up there, Don Wells has done his own video, and that Tim Mullins has done a video. When you look at their videos, they're videoing as if they're going down towards the dog trail. And when you look at the reflection or you look at the door of the basement, you can clearly see the TV playing on the inside and you're outside. So that doesn't make sense to me. How can there be a one-way mirror or a one-way glass? You can see out, but you can't see in. I would understand that. If I lived in that house, I certainly would, I'd have a bloody full wooden door. But if if that's the cheapest door that they could get, it probably some sort of shitty old door they found on some dump site, I don't know. And they, adapted it. It seems like the whole house has been adapted out of mishmash. But there is definitely video where you can see in and you can see out. And another thing is if you listen to Enchanted Life Path, and he's very hard to listen to because he's English, but he's Liverpudlian and he speaks fast and he's got a lisp, but he's very difficult, but he's really bang on the money, back of the net. He's found a CCTV, or what looks like a CCTV camera, on a pole in their back garden, just up, from the funky shed toward the house. There's a CCTV camera, and he goes, oh no, I haven't got any CCTV. Go look at Enchanted Life Path. All people in your chat, please listen to Enchanted Life. He's really a brilliant guy, got so much information. He looks at every single corner. You and I would probably go, oh, we'll just watch the film.
Mm-hmm.
My mum was like that. She would go, oh, look at those curtains. And we'd go, Mum, shut up. And she'd go, oh, look at those things on the fireplace. I go, shut up, Mum, just watch the film.
Yeah.
But my mum had an eye for detail, much as the Enchanted Life does.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, I did have a second thing.
Related
Sorry,
to the door, they may have, there's a couple things that could have happened. You know, when Don Wells was doing his video and Tim Mullins was doing his video, it was months later after Summer had disappeared. So there could be two things here. They could have removed the tent that was on the glass, or they could have changed out that door with a like door for, you know, maybe because it didn't lock properly. And, you know, CPS said that they need to have locking doors and they need to have a door in the bathroom and all these other things that were wrong with their home. So there might have been some home modifications made by the time Don and Tim did their videos. I honestly don't know. That's just speculation.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. And I did send an email, as I said, I sent an email to Brooks, and she said, oh, I think it might have been changed out. This is her reply, and I hope I'm not, you know, speaking out of turn because of her reply. Because it's relevant. She said, I think it was changed October, but I will check. Well, I went back to those videos myself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you change glass, you've got to change the putty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if it, you know, and I looked and I thought, no, they're the same.
Yeah.
There's something, and I'm not saying that
the tent, because at my house when I was growing up, it was something that was back in the 60s and 70s. They put on the windows. They didn't have they had the drapery that was decorative, so it was up. You know, you had the valance, and then you had the pieces that came down, but there was nothing really there. And I remember my mother couldn't, it was starting to bubble up because it had been on there so long. So we actually had to take, you know, little scrapers. And that was our summer job one summer, scraping all that tent off these windows downstairs that was bubbling.
Well, you were certainly dragged up proper.
Yeah.
You were certainly dragged up proper.
Yeah. Kept us busy, wore us out. I was happy.
Yeah, but it gave you a life lesson, didn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, Betty, I just wanted to clear the air, lovely. I've nothing against you or any YouTubers. I know this is your business. I know this is your job. And I absolutely applaud you 1,000,000%.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's
you know, that's a stupid thing to say.
Yeah.
You know, there's
a lot of misunderstandings, you know, when it's back and forth, even emails and stuff, you know, sometimes you just have to talk and you get
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I say to my kids all the time, you know, they'll send me text message and I'll go, oh, reply. And then they'll send me another one. And then I go, oh, hang on a minute. I think, oh, and it goes in between. And I go, right, that's it. I'm picking up the phone because text is going to get convoluted.
Right. And people love you. They want to have you back. So come, you know, one of these days when you have something to say, come back. We're happy to have you.
Thank you, guys. Listen, I am Summer's Army. 100%. 1,000,000%.
Awesome.
Summer. Let's bring that little girl.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're all focusing on, bringing that little girl home.
Let's bring her back. We need to find another word, Betty.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to bring her home because that's the worst place she could be.
Yeah, that is true.
Let's bring her back. We need to find another expression. Not bring Summer home. It's bring Summer to safety. How about that?
There we go. Bring Summer back to safety.
Love you, Bet.
All right. Thank you, Alexandra. Take care.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you so much. I'm so glad we cleared the air because I don't decry anything you do. I love all of you YouTubers except for Benny Keys because he's a fucking let me just say I'll talk to you about that next Tuesday.
Okay. Thank you. God bless. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is too funny. That is too funny. So guys, that was one. That's Alexandra. She was here, was on panel. Yeah, many of you guys like her. It seems she was refreshing. She was refreshing, and just hearing a different perspective. So very happy. Let's see. I didn't get a chance while I was talking to her. I didn't get a chance to go over a whole lot of, I seen this, things were going on in the chat. Just thought I'd come back. So I'm going to go ahead and if anybody else wants to, I know we're over our 2 hours, but, if anybody else would like to come up on panel and just, opposition, agreeance, whatever, please do so. We'd love to have you and love to hear your opinion on, what we went over today with the Cornbread Mafia, what we went over related to Jose and the information about whether Candace and Jose actually had inappropriate relations, whatever you guys would like to talk about. Oh, okay. Bye, Anissa. Thank you. For many of you guys don't know, Anissa is one of our mods here. She's been a very good mod as well as all my other mods. I love my mods. I think we have a great mod environment here. But Anissa's actually out camping, and she's got no power, and she was here modding for us today. So thank you so much, Anissa. We really appreciate your dedication to this channel. I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with my mods, what I'm going to get you guys, but I got to get you guys something. You guys are fantastic. So anyways, if anybody else would like to come up, come on up and just let me know, how you're feeling. If, you agree with things, you disagree with things, what you, how you feel. We covered a lot. We've covered a lot today. So covered a lot. Just gonna have a chat, It's been a great. I think we've had a great show today. I mean, we with the author and with Allie, with Alexandra, it's been a very good show today. So if anybody wants to come up and just express their opinions, you don't have to. Some people like to show their face, some people don't. I'm perfectly respectful of people turning their cameras off. I just ask that if you come up, you turn your camera on while you're back in the studio, and I'll let you know. Just listen for me, and I'll let you know that you're going to be coming up, so it gives you the opportunity to turn your camera off if you so choose, and whatever you guys would like to do, I'm game. I'd love to see you correlate several cases in Tennessee and discuss how the judicial system works in those cases. That's a lot of work. I can tell you that. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of research. I'm game. We've got some, I've got some time. I could. But yeah, send me, put that in your subject line of an email and send me what cases you'd like me to look into. And I'll start. May take me a little minute, but I'm happy to look into them. Oh, shouldn't allow people. Okay, we have somebody else, but Sage, you shouldn't allow people to rent space in your mind. Thank you, Amy.
Hi, how are you doing? Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, that's just let me fix.
Okay.
Let me just see if it's better now. You hear me now?
Yep, hear you perfect.
Yeah, it's better now. You know what people aren't saying is that they're not talking about. I know that people aren't feeling that Jose is very forthcoming or doing the right thing by the timeline, but they're not saying that he could be potentially damaging the prosecution. because anybody can pick apart the timeline and his recollection. I just think that I just think there's too many people in this cast of characters, and I'm just hoping that there's some sort of secret grand jury going on right now, like they did with the West case out in California. Because if there's not, we have to be really concerned with our country and what's going on with the children. Because I just, I know, for instance, in my town, I think that I may have some confidence in them finding a child, because I remember a few weeks, like a month ago, I think it was about a month ago, there was an elderly person that absconded from a nursing home. They were not, or assisted living facility that they were not, they weren't minding, they were bad. They just did a horrible job watching this particular person because they had dementia and they shouldn't have been able to get out in the middle of the night. But what I was very impressed with in my town is that the town mobilized, and they had calls going out to the whole community immediately to come out and look. We're looking. They were describing the person. I'm like, there needs to be something in these towns or some sort of uniform type of a system that's done for these kids to get people found. I don't like cameras, but I don't like Big Brother, and you want this technology to have cameras everywhere, but you just don't want this getting into the wrong hands. That's the only thing I don't like, is that you have this great technology to track people and to find people, but you can't, you just don't want it to be used improperly, because you get a bunch of tyrants that you're fighting in your towns, and we have to watch what's going on locally, not only what's going on in the war geopolitically. We just pray that we elect the right people, or get selected the right people, but that aren't going to abuse technology to hurt us. And where we want to use technology to help us and to help our children and help elderly people not get missing, especially with that Miss Sakala that is still missing. I would assume is still missing. But I just hope that we have something with all of these cases comes about where we could find kids, that there's some plans that can happen, and also to really get this CPS broken up. It's terrible, when they have to really get this all hooked nationally. It's just upsetting. It's why, I have a child. I never use a babysitter. I wouldn't trust anybody. I feel bad for people that have young children that have to work, that they can't, there can't be eyes for their children, and that, you're going to start putting cameras on your kids, and it's just very scary, all of the cases that are out there, and that I just think that this Wells case is out of control. There's just too many people involved, too many cast of characters. It's more complicated than some of the soap operas I've used to watch. And
I agree.
I don't really care. I don't really care about these people. I'm a health person. I'm like, I don't care. I see people smoking, drinking around children and doing these terrible toxic things. I can't respect any of that, because we're supposed to protect our children from environmental exposures, keeping them healthy, keeping them safe. And and when I looked at that I'm Jewish, so when I look at this the pictures of Summer, if I took this picture of Summer with her head shaved, with the skinny, emaciated look, and I put her in a black and white picture, I think I was looking at a kid from Auschwitz. I'm seriously. She looks like she walked out of a camp. Seriously, like the way they've treated her, and I'm an RN, and I just see a kid that does not look healthy, that's neglected, probably never went to preschool, was probably, though she had brothers that would teach her, but, you can't, I believe kids are to stay with their mother. I'm sure they did not send her to a preschool. They could have asked the church to take her and do some pre-K, get some real daycare, like a situation where she'd get food, where she would get some reading done to her. I'm sure Candace never read to her kids or took them to a story time at the library. You know, those are all things that are so formative that I'm sure that she never did. And that, you know, and this is going on all over the country. I know that we're not a socialist country, but, you know, we know we don't want to pay taxes up the yin yang for all these special programs, but people really need to step in and try to save kids more, and not be afraid to say something and do something about something when they see something wrong in their community, especially with little children. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts. But I just, as I said, to circle back or go back to the previous thing. I just you know, if Jose goes and gives another interview, he really, I don't think he should right at this point.
Yeah,
in
you
my
know, Judy
opinion.
Ron had actually brought that up himself from the perspective of law enforcement, how, you know, critical some of these interviews, hours long. Like, you know, I try to, and I have to agree, when you do an interview, you know, if it's not a critical person in the case, you know, I can understand doing the interview live. But if you notice any interviews that we do, we typically we record those first and then we bring them live. When we did our very first trip to Rogersville, Tennessee, the majority of all the interviews that we took, this is the difference, the majority of all the interviews that we took while we were out there, we actually turned over to law enforcement before we aired even one interview on YouTube. Many people don't know.
Yeah, I did see that Judy Ron on live, and I was just like, you know, I know people want to get interviews, and I try, and I don't get involved with drama. I think it's wrong because a lot of this stuff is worse than middle school. You know, I don't even see kids being I see behavior on these channels that are kids are now being given assemblies in schools to not do and partake
Absolutely.
in.
And to think it's adults doing it.
Right. It's because this is forever.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you do is going to be out there forever. What you do and how do you criticize someone on a panel? You can delete all you want if you know when you say something so bad, but it's there forever, and it doesn't disappear into thin air. So I don't know. All the best, and take care. Nice talking to you.
I appreciate your comments, Amy. Thank you, and please come back. You know, if you ever have want to ever comment, you're always welcome here.
And I'm so jealous you're traveling. I don't get to go anywhere. It's terrible.
Trust me, I used to be a homebody until all this stuff started happening, and it's exhausting. It seems glamorous and nice, but I tell you, when we go out there on these cases, it's literally work from about 5 a.m. in the morning to about 11 o'clock at night. You know, we make it look good when Olivia gets her hands on everything, but it's exhausting, tiring work. I can tell you that.
Right. But everybody has to be treating each other kindly, because it's bad out there. Look what's going on in the world with the economy and the inflation. It's so bad on the outside right now. So, you know, that's all. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you, Amy. Take care. Take care. So, yeah, absolutely. You know, love the, you know, the thoughts, the opinions of people. You know, we can have differing opinions and do it respectfully. There are some people that come here and want to be rude and inconsiderate. Have one in here right now, but they want to hide behind the keyboard. They prefer to hide behind the keyboard. There's some people that come out and talk, but I can tell you there are a few people out there that has actually done the work to be able to state, and I can tell you my discrepancies are nil compared to most. So yes, this channel is all about me, i.e. Bullhorn Betty channel, Megan. So, you know, again, this is a channel that you're choosing to watch. Think about that. I don't go out and watch people's channels that I can't stand to watch, right? I think that's insane. Like, you got to have some issues to do that. Just saying. So, Megan, if you do not like this channel and you're so superior to everybody, go maybe to your superior channels. Just a suggestion. God bless you. God bless you. It's possible, but I can tell you that, Kylie, that when you have a child that's eating nothing but frozen pizzas, candies, and things like that, when you're hearing her mother's statement, with all the stuff they did on June 15th, and not one time did she ever say she fed that child, I'm pretty sure we get the picture. When we hear somebody like, and corroborating, okay, because when you, how do you corroborate? That means you have several people that say the same story, right? So now you're talking about other people that have stayed in that house corroborating that these kids were malnutrition. So even though your child is, and there's probably many people in and around your family that can corroborate your daughter eats well. Excuse me. My sister was the same way when she was younger. She could eat, and she was a toothpick. And she had some kind of a blood thing that she grew out of. But you have people in your corner corroborating your child's eating and eating healthy. You see that? Candace doesn't have that. Actually, everybody that's lived in that home or has been around Candace states the exact same thing. We knew back in December about these frozen pizzas, and Jose corroborated that, right? So you're talking about two totally different things. It doesn't matter what body type Summer Wells has. The bottom line is she was being malnutritioned. Okay. She was a malnutrition kid. You have corroborating witnesses that state that. You have the mother's own statements stating that. You have the father's own statements stating that. So while I appreciate you trying to play devil's advocate here, you've got to listen to the people that know the most. In your case is totally different. In their case is totally opposite of your case. Okay. That child has been malnutrition for a very long time. Oh, well, I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here. So I mean, I get what you're saying, Kylie. I really do. I'm not trying to be rude, but we all know different. Everybody that has listened to these interviews over the last 9 months knows darn well that child did not get proper nutrition. And so trying to compare with your daughter that does, or your child that does get proper nutrition, is just not fair. And it's actually devaluing the horrific environment that these children were in. We can't make excuses for that. I'm sorry. We just can't. As a society, we cannot make excuses for these children living like that. We just can't. It's not fair to those kids. And just as if it was your child, you want the absolute best for your child. Can you imagine if they weren't getting the absolute best? You would not want the community at large giving a pass to the people that are putting your child in a bad position, or not providing them the proper education, nutrition, and love that they need to have. So it's just, in my opinion, is not fair to try to explain away the horrific environment these children were in. And thank God Summer was able to save her brothers. I believe as horrible as some things are in this world, I believe things happen for a reason. And Summer will not, this whole scenario around Summer will not be in vain. At the end of the day, no matter what the outcome is, she saved her brothers. And we have to give her that. We have to give her that. And we have to give her a heck of a lot more than that. Her life mattered. Her life matters. Unfortunately, the signaling I'm seeing from law enforcement is this is recovery. This is, we want to bring Summer back safe, as Alexandra, brought to our attention. We don't want to bring her home. We want to bring her back safe. But the more and more time that goes on, the harder and harder it is for that to be reality. Do we want to lose hope? Of course not. We're optimistic, but we have to be realistic. So with that being said, yeah, I thought Amy was really active, but Alexandra and Amy both, they had a great thing. And it's kind of funny because, Amy was talking about in her medical experience, and we always talk about experiences. And many of you guys know that I reached out to several different types of medical professionals, from EMTs to nurses to actual doctors, with the video and photo. At first, it was just a photo because that's all I had. Of Summer Wells on those milk cartons, and let them explain what they saw. And I'm telling you, every single one of them was very, very concerned at what they saw. And so hearing another professional talk about, the condition of Summer really kind of rings true. And, it's hard. It's hard because these medical professionals that have been trained in this stuff, I have not been outside of a CNA, just to have training. So I knew what was required for CNAs and stuff like that for when I was selling health insurance and long-term care and stuff like that. I went through a CNA training, just to get a perspective of what that, what all it entailed, right? That doesn't come near as close to, say, an RN or a doctor's kind of training. As you know, CNA, lowest man on the totem pole, right? So whenever I get to hear from medical professionals, I listen intently, because they know better than anyone else. Are there outliers, children that, eat a lot and don't gain a lot of weight? I can tell you, my sister was just like that. And believe it or not, when she got into high school, from middle school to high school, that all changed, and it all changed very, very quickly. And I'll leave it at that. But, there is changes in the body that happen. And sometimes children metabolize food a lot quicker. That's not the case here with Summer. And as far as her growth chart is concerned, she did not meet up to the growth chart expectations. And that's, a statistical growth chart rather. Of course, not every single child is going to meet that criteria, but that is the majority of the children. And yes, there are outliers, like our friend in here, Kylie, was telling us about her child. Those are outliers. That's not normal. Her child's healthy, but typically that's not how it is. There are certain medical conditions that do have that, and it could be, gallbladder. It could be a number of things for a child, and children grow out of a lot of that things as they get older as well. So just FYI about that. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are really concerned about her, and I personally don't like her. I think she's a despicable woman, and would never give her any kind. I shouldn't say that. If she would actually be actually interviewed, you guys got to remember, she runs from actual interviews. She wants to talk about what she wants to talk about. But if she actually had to answer questions, what does she do? She writes letters. She runs away. She takes microphones off. She storms off. She does not want to be interrogated. Her 5-year-old daughter is missing, and she is more concerned about herself than she is her child. And we have watched that play out for 9 months. I can tell you that the children were not taken care of properly. And, most of us that have children or grandchildren, we've gone through a cavity or two. To have your children, I mean, I can tell you, growing up, I was at the dentist. Outside of my molars, I had pockets in my molars, and I grind my teeth. So they actually had to put like a resin on the back of there, so I didn't wear my teeth down. And so I had a lot of dental problems, primarily in the back of my mouth, mostly with my molars because of that. And of course, I grew out of that as well. But those are what parents are supposed to take care of. And my parents did. People know my story. You know, we lived in a good environment. My house was clean, but there was a lot of things that went on behind the closed doors of my home that caused me childhood trauma. And you know, here we're kind of having parents that aren't even trying to hide or sweep things under the rug. They just don't care who knows what's going on, right? They bring everybody in. They think it's right, which means that they were taught that. So the parents, so that means Don and Candace, their parents taught them this behavior. This is taught behavior. This is the cycle of abuse. And why do they call it a cycle of abuse? Is because it goes from generation to generation until the cycle is broken. I feel, at least for my family, my dad started breaking the cycle whenever we were younger. He broke that cycle. Was he traumatized? Did he, you know, he did the best he could. It did traumatize us children growing up, but he did start the break of that cycle. My Uncle James broke that cycle. My Aunt Patricia broke that cycle. These are people that broke the cycle of the toxic family dysfunction and in abuse. You know, my dad didn't do as well as my aunt and my uncle did. Did he do the best he could? Yes. It was still a traumatic environment for us children growing up. Did he do his best? Yes, I believe he did. But that man had a lot of childhood trauma that he never got over. And I did not want to be like that as I progressed in my age. And I decided to take matters into my own hands and fix whatever was broken in me. And I got to tell you, it was really, really tough work. Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, thank you, Emma. I got your message. Thank you. Absolutely. This is what it's all about. It's all about justice for Summer Wells, and we want to make sure that Summer Wells gets justice. You know, and it kind of dovetails into Gabby Petito right now, because I feel like Gabby Petito was failed. I feel her family was failed. And I feel that they finally took control back into their own hands and are seeking justice for their daughter. And I hope they prevail. I really do. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, but we're still the lowest man on the totem pole. I mean, everybody else has much better education. And really with the CNA, I have to say it's the experience that makes them sharp and help with being on top of care. And it takes a love. It takes a labor of love to do so. I've met a lot of wonderful CNAs. I didn't take the course as a profession. I took a course more for understanding, because if anybody knows me, they know that I like to know the inner workings of different jobs and stuff like that. I can't tell you what a long-term care benefit's going to provide you without knowing exactly what it's going to provide you. So it was, you know, I'm very thorough. Even back then, I was like, I want to say 20 something, and still very thorough. You know, even with all the crazy stuff going on in my life, I was always a very hard worker and always tried to do my very best, even though I had a lot of chaos. Some caused by myself or through the stuff I did, some not so much, you know, some that I just had to deal with. But, you know, I was always a very, you know, smart person. I always worked very, very hard at whatever I did. And I always stayed laser focused on the mission at hand, whatever that may have been. Yeah. And even with that, Emma, we still, you know, want her to rest in peace. And I have to agree again with Alexandra. We do not want to bring her home, because her home's the worst place she could ever go. And we never want to bring the boys back home either. We want them to be able to thrive and survive and break their cycle and get the help that they need for the years of abuse and neglect that they had to endure. So, guys, I just want, oh, thank you, buddy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you. I love you. I love you. I appreciate all you guys. I really, really, really super do. And don't forget the scrolling bar down below is for Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App. As many of you guys know, we are going on a work trip at the end of April, beginning of May. I've already let the cat out of the bag that it will be a trip to Michigan. The whole entire team will go. Our budget for this trip is $1,750. We've already received $50 toward that trip. So we are, so for all of you, we have almost 255 people in here. If you guys could contribute $2 or $3 a piece, that would really help get us to our, goals for this trip. It will be a trip that you guys will love. I mean, it's going to be sad, as many of our trips are. We're covering cases that aren't, there's always pain associated with the cases we cover. That's just all there is to it. But this is a case that we will bring to light. Again, we've already got interviews scheduled. We've already got people for this, and it's definitely something that we will not disappoint our audience in bringing to life to you. So if you guys believe and trust in our team, again, the team that is going down is Jonathan, Olivia, Mom, and myself. We will be going to, I keep going down. I'm about the furthest state on the United States map. So everything from here is up. We will be going up to our destination. We decided to give ourselves a month to collect the funds. We will sponsor this trip ourselves if need be, but it would be a lot of help if the community at large does help out with this trip. Any money that goes into the Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal accounts will not be touched until we are booking the flights and the rental car. So I'm just going to keep those in there and just keep those funds safe. They're not going to be commingled with anybody else or anything else. Please don't send any money for wish list items to these accounts for the next month, because everything that is going to be collected in these accounts are 100% going to be funding the trip to Michigan at the end of April, beginning of May. Let me see if there's anything else. I think that's about it. I live in Florida too. Stay down. I know it's horrible. It's a bad habit. Everybody says stuff to me, and I'm like, oh, I got to go down here, and it's like I'm as farthest down as you can get. I mean, unless I was going to Miami, then they're further down. But at any rate, all right, guys. Well, we went way overboard on time, but that's okay. I loved today. Today was a great podcast. We had got a lot of good information. We heard from a lot of people. We are so thankful to each and every one of you that chose to spend your time with us here today. And I'm very thankful. Guys, make it a great Saturday. I know that there could be 1,000 things you could be doing today, and I'm very blessed that you chose to spend them with me. I love you guys. I can't thank you guys enough. I want to give a big shout out to all my mods, which do an amazing job. I want to give a shout out to the people that chose to come on the panel and speak how they felt. And again, I just want to thank the people that were just in the chat room today. Have an amazing Saturday. God bless each and every one of you. We are still working behind the scenes. We are going to continue to bring you more and more information as the Summer Wells case unfolds, as well as any of the other cases that we are on.